Our selection for today will be Swing Low.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming forth to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Oh, swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. If you get there before I do, coming forth to carry me home. Tell all my friends I'm coming too, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Oh, swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. I'm sometimes up and I'm sometimes down, coming forth to carry me home. But still my soul is Zion bound, coming forth to carry me home. Swing
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have favorite love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. As we read in the oracles, Yahweh has given us a little warning that I've sent an angel to lead you in the way. Beware and provoke him not. This is something that our people were told from the beginning. And when you get right down to it, this is what we're dealing with. Whether or not we're going to be able to walk in agreement with the angel that Yahweh has placed over the children of Israel. That angel has a job to get us to a certain place at a certain time. And he's not going to go back to Yahweh with a fair report, because what we think, feel, and believe, and the things that we have gotten emotionally attached to. And that's what most of these things are. It's emotional attachment. We can find out a lot of these things very, very easily as far as some of the misteachings that we have been handed down from generation to generation. When I grew up, they didn't have internet. But that one thing that was always around was that Encyclopedia Britannica. It was always near us. It was always at a place where we could get to it. And we could always have looked up some things and got some information. And from time to time, I would just pick up the encyclopedia because it wasn't nothing else to do. And be amazed at some of the stuff, that was in it. But we could also go back now and look at all of those things and find out that the truth was right within our grasp. It was right within our reach. All we had to do was reach for it. And it's obvious that there is a great awakening happening. So we know that we are getting closer to the redemption of the children of Israel. Now, we have done sermons and teachings before on the importance of the Sabbath. But what ends up happening is we kind of mention Sunday as a side note. You know, Sunday has not gotten its own full teaching, meaning that the people who celebrate on Sunday just merely believe that they're just keeping a new version of the Sabbath. So it has not been exposed for what it is. Yahweh has created an order on the earth, and the adversary, the devil, basically went the exact opposite. Saturday is the last day, seventh day. Sunday is the first day. So the adversary did the exact opposite of what Yahweh said was holy. He did the exact opposite. So then the people who are worshiping on Sunday never considered that their Sunday worship is a mark and seal and sign of the beast. And we once walked in the sign of the beast and had no idea that that's what we were doing. We walked in zeal. We walked in our belief. We did what we thought was right, all the while walking in the a mark of the beast, because that's what Sunday worship is. It was set up to honor the adversary, the devil, being in complete opposition. Not one day, because if you look at from Saturday to Sunday, it seemed like it's one day. No, it is the complete opposite. He basically set up a worship practice on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, other than what Yahweh set up. It is not just one day over. It is a straight disrespect of Yahweh, the creator of heaven and earth and all that in them is. We're going to begin today. Today's sermon is Sunday, a mark of the beast. We're going to begin at Genesis chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 1 through 3. It's Genesis chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 1 through 3. See, when you don't, call the Sunday worship out for what it is, it doesn't seem necessary for the people to stop being a part of it. See, if you just say the importance of the Sabbath, and then they say, okay, the Sabbath is important, maybe I'll get around to doing that. But then what happens? There are a whole lot of people and a whole lot of churches that are making optional Saturday service. So what do they have? They have Saturday and Sunday service. So you're still walking in the mark of the beast, but you're going to, keep Saturday, just in case type thing. But when you don't call it out for what it is, then it doesn't seem like it's a real issue, but it is an issue. Go ahead.
Verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day Elohim ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made.
So then this is not about the nation of Israel. This is about the creation on the entire earth. So the entire earth should be keeping the Sabbath. This is not a situation whereby this was given to Israel. There is no Israel at this point. There is creation. If they're on his earth, they're going to have to honor his Sabbath. And sooner or later, he's going to make them honor his Sabbath. But this is not just about Israel. And that's the part that we first of all miss. There's no Israel. There's no Ham. There's no Japheth. There's no Shem. There's no nothing. There's no generation set up. There's no law. There is his creation. And as long as they're on this earth, then they're going to have to deal with the things that he has set up on his earth. And this is about the creation itself, which is amazing, because you have all of these people who claim to be, they're earth conscience. They're this. Let's save the planet. You know, everybody walking around, they say, oh, we tree huggers. We love the earth. Well, look here, you tree hugger. You still on the same earth, right? Well, then honor his Sabbath then. You want to honor his Sabbath. You want to honor the earth. Honor the one who made it. And the order that he set it up to go in. Let's go to Exodus chapter 16. They even have one of those organizations, what they call it, Greenpeace. Well, Sabbath is peace. If you want a green peace, I can show you where that's at. It's on the 7th day. You ain't got to look around for green peace. I can show you where it's at. Exodus chapter 16, and let's start that at verse 16.
This is the thing which Yahweh has commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, an omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take you every man for them which are in his tent.
So Yahweh is giving this manna to feed the children of Israel, and he's giving this direction for when to go and gather this up. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more, some less. And when they did meet it with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. And Moshe said, let no man leave out of it till the morning.
Now, a lot of times we start dealing with the Sabbath things here, and we leave out the things in Genesis. It was already set as a holy day. The Sabbath day was the first thing that was blessed and sanctified by the creator of all things. And it is amazing because a lot of people walking around talking about being sanctified and sanctification, and the first thing he sanctified was the Sabbath. And it's the first things that the so-called Christians change. Go ahead.
Verse 19, and Moshe said, let no man leave of it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moshe, but some of them left of it until the morning. And it bred worms and stank. And Moshe was angry with them. And they gathered it every morning, every man according to his eating. And when the sun waxed hot, it melted.
Right. It says, Moshe said in verse 19, let no man leave of it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearken not unto Moshe. Because trying to get our own stash is our thing of taking care of ourselves. See, the more you got in a stash, the less faith you need to have. See, when something ends up happening and you got $10,000, $20,000 in your savings, you got about 4 or 5 credit cards, you ain't really worried like that. He said, well, I'm going to make it through this because I know, my money's sitting like that. But when that money ain't there, there's a prayer level that goes up on a whole nother level, but that you got to be broke. So some of y'all can't even understand my prayer level because you ain't been broke enough yet. See, that's what some of y'all problem is. See, when you get to where I have been, then you'll understand a few things. See, you ain't been broke enough yet. That's your problem. See, when you get to that level of broketivity, you have a prayer level that's on swole. But what ends up happening, your faith gets on swole too. Because you watch him bring you through when you didn't have no way to bring you through. When your credit cards was already maxed. When you didn't have no more money. Somehow, things just worked out. Now, when it happened to you once, you said, my God, that was peculiar. When it happened twice, you said, wait a minute, that's something. When it happened 3 and 4 and more, you say, okay, now my God is up in here. Now I know he exists. Then he can give you your money back. So, okay, so now you believe me, he give you your money. Now, if you can believe with your money, then you get to keep your money. Apparently, I couldn't. What? So he took all that stuff. But once my faith level was where it needed to be, here you go, Sock. I'm going to start getting some of this back. A lot of people look at that and say, man, he got a new motorcycle. No. I had a motorcycle over a decade ago that I had to sell. That's me getting the motorcycle back. Some of y'all ain't been around long enough to know that. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 22. And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moshe. And he said unto them, This is that which Yahweh has said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto Yahweh. Bake that which you will bake today, and seed that you will seed, and that which remains overlay up for you to be kept until the morning.
So the instruction before, this is how you know the Sabbath is set apart. It is something different. On every other day, don't keep nothing. Don't lay it up. The next time, lay it up. Keep this. I need for this to be laid up for the next day. So lay this up for you to be kept until the morning and prepare it the day before. So there's a preparation day. When we get down to the thing of Friday, then we should be preparing for our Shabbat. A lot of times come Saturday morning, we running around trying to pick up stuff, trying to do this, that, and the third. Why you doing that now? We realize that we ain't got no gas Saturday morning. Well, how did you expect that ox to go in here without no water? You should have got some water for your ox the night before. Then we all twisted. But then this is where we go to the next level. Now you got in the situation, your ox needed some fuel. Now we stop at the Texaco, and now we in that line right by the register, and there go that Snicker bar. Now what that got to do with water for your ox? Now you need this gas to get in here. You didn't get it when you were supposed to get it. What that got to do with that Snicker bar? That ain't got nothing to do with that. But you see how when you in a place where you ain't got no business being, you see how other stuff start presenting itself? Go ahead.
Verse 24. And they laid it up till the morning, as Moshe bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein.
Mm-hmm.
And Moshe said, Eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto Yahweh. Today you shall not find it in the field.
Right. So he has given you enough. This should be a faith builder that it doesn't spoil like the other, and you're able to lay it up. This is a different ordained thing than any other day. Go ahead.
6 days you shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day for to gather, and they found none. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, How long refuse you to keep my commandments and my laws?
Right. So people then see this and start dealing with the Sabbath on this manner, but forget that the Sabbath was orchestrated from the beginning of creation. Right when Yahweh ended his creation, when he rested, this is what the whole earth is supposed to do on his rest day. Go ahead.
See, for that Yahweh has given you the Sabbath. Therefore he gives you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Abide you every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day.
Right. And this was just a situation because they would not stop looking for the manna. This is not something that Yahweh has set that for our Sabbath that we have to stay in the house, but we have to understand that the more you get out and about, the greater your chances of doing things that are going to cause you an issue. When we are keeping unleavened bread, I am very careful about the places where I go, because that the habit kicks in that you're normally used to. So you're used to doing certain things, you'll go right to that place and pick up some food. And you'll already be chewing by the time you figure out, oh man, it's unleavened bread. You better already swallow that. And you'll be sitting there like, man, this tastes abnormally good. Why does it taste so good? Because it's saying now, oh, right? That's how easy it is to fall into normal, habit things. So you have to kind of watch where you go when you're dealing with certain things. So this was just one of those things. Just stay in your house. If you stay in your house, I ain't got to worry about you doing too many things wrong. But as long as y'all out, you're gonna find a way to do something wrong. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20, and we're going to read verses 1 through 11.
Verse 1. And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh, your Elohim, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me.
Now, this is something that people openly display all throughout their houses. You go in people's churches and these things will be hanging up. But we are taught and were taught to consistently break these commandments. And where you get to the line of real big hypocrisy is when you post the commandments in the middle of breaking them. Go ahead.
You shall not make unto you any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
Right. And in a lot of those churches that we went in, there were images. Some had images of a man on a cross before we even got in the door. Then you go in the door, and then there's tablets on the wall containing the commandments that they just broke before you even got in there. Go ahead.
You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh, your Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the lawlessness of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
Right. Yahweh said, you shall not place any groves near my altar, knowing what the people were into. Yet, that grove or that Christmas tree, gifts are placed under it, and you have to get on your knees to go down there and get it. And these things were given to us right in the same place where the commandments were posted on the wall. Go ahead.
And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
Right. Everybody talks about the love of Elohim. But what happens is we speak about the love of Elohim without speaking about the things or this little connection to that love that's there, which is keeping of the commandments. Everybody want to tell you that God is love. They don't want to tell you that that's connected to keeping those commandments, though. Go ahead.
You shall not take the name of Yahweh your Elohim in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Right. So then even once we get into remembering the Sabbath day to keep it holy, my elder used to always say, be careful how you hear what you hear. And what you have to do is remember the focus of the discussion. It says, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Then it's going to explain these things. Pay attention. And when the people try to teach you against the Sabbath or that Sunday is just as good, watch their argument. Their argument stays on so-called holy or not holy, but they don't get to the meat of the matter. Go ahead.
6 days shall you labor and do all your work.
That's the real topic. See, no matter what they come up with, Yahweh's work schedule didn't change. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work. Go ahead.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh your Elohim. In it you shall not do any work.
Right. The whole part about the Sabbath is resting when he rests. Not doing any work because he didn't do any work. That is the bottom line part of the Sabbath. So the normal hustle and bustle of work that you see going back and forth, that's not supposed to be there on the Sabbath. That's what that is about. So they will tell you that every day is holy. I heard T.D. Jakes say it. Monday is holy. Tuesday is holy. Wednesday. That's not the subject. See, be careful how you hear what you hear. It was not about which day was holy. It was about which day was the rest day, not holy. See, they have, with the song and dance, they got your focus off of what the focus was supposed to be on. Now you're trying to figure out, well, you know what? I mean, God did make all the days. Well, so, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Sunday could be holy, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, Sunday could be holy. What's wrong with Holy Sunday? Nothing wrong with that. I mean, God made it. It's not the subject. See? With the sleight of hand and the flip of the tongue, they have now twisted the subject matter. So now you're trying to figure out if Sunday is just as holy as Saturday. Not the subject. Focus. Go ahead.
You, nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is.
Do you see how much detail he's going into for this? We know that he says over and over that his name was holy. He got one verse. You shall not take the name of Yahweh your Elohim in vain. You shall not make unto you a graven image. You shall not bow down yourself. When he starts going into this Sabbath, there's detail. Go ahead.
And rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Now you get to the blessing of the Sabbath and made it holy. So even when they try to go to the situation of trying to say that every day is holy, that is a lie in itself. But it's a slick lie in the way that it's put to make us believe that it doesn't matter. But this is following Yahweh's order when we rest on the same day that he rested. Let's go to Exodus chapter 31. Exodus chapter 31, and we're going to read verses 12 through 18.
Exodus chapter 31 and verse 12. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak you also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily, my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations.
So it is a sign between me and you. See, the rest of the nations are going to do what they're going to do. But the Sabbath is a sign between us. This is a symbol of our covenant, that you and I are in agreement, that we are in a covenant together. This is what this Sabbath is. So you got people get married, they get a ring. They say, oh, this is, the symbol of us being married. Take somebody's ring, especially a woman. Take that ring, see what happens. Woo! What happened? That was the sign of our covenant. What you doing? Matter of fact, just lose yours. Right. Where your ring at? Lost. You lost the sign of our covenant? Right. Wait a minute. This Sabbath is the sign of our covenant with our Elohim. What's the matter? You lost it? Right. Go ahead.
That you may know that I am Yahweh that does sanctify you. You shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defiles it shall surely be put to death.
It is holy unto you. This thing is set apart. This thing is something different between you and I. See, and this is the first things that the nations attacked us on. When you go and start reading in the Apocrypha, you find that they were, killing our people, doing all kind of destructive things, trying to get us to walk away from the Sabbath. Threatening children, threatening peoples and their whole family. Because if you would just walk away from this Sabbath, those Greeks came in and straight went at our people. Just walk away from this Sabbath. Just whatever we can get you to do, just walk away from this Sabbath. Why? Why were they so hell-bent on getting us to walk away from the Sabbath? They understood. It was a sign between us and our Elohim. So they want to destroy the symbol of the covenant between us and our Elohim. Go ahead, brother. Did you finish that?
For whosoever does any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever does any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant.
Right. Perpetual means forever. It is a perpetual covenant. It shall not end. Go ahead.
It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever.
So in case you didn't know what perpetual meant, he went again and said forever. You know, Israel kind of slow. Yeah. We got the smartest dumb people you ever did want to see. So he said perpetual. Then, all right, forever. God, they slow. Go ahead.
For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed.
Once again, the subject of the matter. It's not about somebody trying to decide which day is holier than the other, or if another day can be just as holy. See, they're changing the focus. See, they've taken the focus off Yahweh and put the focus on themselves. I can keep Sunday just as holy as Saturday. I can do it. I know I can. Say it about you. Go ahead.
And he gave unto Moshe, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of Elohim.
And we're going to have to consider that. Remember this. What is there, these 2 tables, and how holy those tables are just in themselves. Brother, I want you to read this because it says when we get to a sign, I want you to read the definition of sign.
From H226, oath. Probably from H225, in the sense of appearing a signal, literally or figuratively, as a flag, beacon, monument, omen, prodigy, evidence, mark, miracle, sign, token.
So then we find the word mark there, and the Hebrew word that was used there is oath. Okay, so then I want you to read, go to the next graphic, and I want you to read Genesis 4 and verse 15.
And Yahweh said unto him, therefore whosoever slays Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And Yahweh set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him.
Right. Now, when we look in Strong's, the same word is used there, which is oath. The exact same word for sign. So a mark was placed upon Cain. A sign was placed upon him, lest any should kill him. So then when we talk about this sign, and we see that it can be a token of something, we have to understand that Sunday is a token of Christianity. That day of worship did not exist before that. This word was accepted, and then they got involved and changed it according to their own liking. Let's go to Daniel chapter 7. See, we can go all day and tell you the importance of the Sabbath. See, it's just like, the whole understanding of, Yahweh, made each day. So why can any one of them be evil? Well, Yahweh made all the trees, right? I guess I ain't got to keep going after that, right? Okay. All right. Daniel chapter 7, and let's read verses 23 through 26.
Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces.
All right, and we have read before about this fourth beast or this fourth kingdom. Understand that this whole thing in Daniel was giving us the prophecy of the Gentile rulership here on earth. So, which is amazing that anybody could actually believe, anybody who reads this book, that the true children of Israel have returned unto the land. It is not possible because these four beasts, these kingdoms have to rule in their entirety. So for somebody to tell you that the true Jews have returned, okay, well then Daniel, Joel, Jeremiah, Isaiah, all of them got to be a lie. That's what you have to do to accept these imposters. You have to make all of these other prophets liars. And people do that meanwhile while carrying the book in their hand. I mean, they do the same thing. I mean, they display the commandments while breaking them. And they carry around this book while teaching exactly the opposite of what's in it. Go ahead.
And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are the 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
Right, and we know who it is that has been warring against us. When we get right down to it, it was the Christians that have been warring against us. When we talk about who put us in this last slavery, that was Christians. Let's not get it twisted. Those government names we got, those are Christian names. That's how you got that name. Those names were not among our people when we got here. Let's not get confused. You carry around the sign of your captivity. When somebody says your name is John Coppersmith, yep, sign of a slave. The sign of your captivity is every time they call your name. Because that does not match your culture. Go ahead.
And think to change times and laws.
Mm-hmm.
And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
Right. So then we get to, we know that these things, as far as changing times and laws, the Pope has declared that he is God on earth. So you can't get any more blasphemous than that, that when you are believe that you are God on earth, then you have the right to change times and laws in your own mind. And he has done so. Go ahead and finish that up.
But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end.
Now, if you start dealing with these things here, they shall take away his dominion. There are other Euro Gentiles who understand the demon part of the papacy of the Roman Catholic Church, and they are completely against it. Before, just show you how Yahweh does timing. When I first came into this word, I'm talking, 13 years ago or whatever it was, I am just coming into the word, and my grandmother gets this book mailed to her. It still has my grandmother's address on the back of it, and it just says resident, because they would just send it to anybody. And this was called the National Sunday Law. Now, this book would have made no dent in my heart, mind, or spirit, other than the fact that I had just got into the truth. And here this book shows up laying on my grandmother's coffee table. Now, my grandmother died at 100 years old, never got past a 4th grade education. She wasn't going to read the book. The book wasn't for her. The book was for me. I started going through the book like 40 going north. I'm like, what in the world is that? Big mama, you going to keep this book? Baby, you want it, take it. And I still have this book, and I can go back through it, but it means something even different now, because a whole lot of the stuff I didn't really understand then. But just to show you how Yahweh does things, this book is sitting over there. Now, no one else in my family, this book wouldn't have meant nothing to them. Matter of fact, if I had left it there, it was going to end up in the trash because it was just junk mail is what they called it. Now, this National Sunday Law, they've been trying to push this type thing for a very long time. The publication on this book is 1983. This is not a new thing that they want to make Sunday like the Sabbath is supposed to be. Go ahead and read the things on this next graphic.
In 321 AD, Constantine named himself bishop of the Catholic Church and changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday.
Now, 321, we're talking about 300 plus years later. So the first Euro-Gentiles who accepted the word, even though they then changed the name to Christianity, because the people who followed the Messiah were the sect of the Nazarenes. They called themselves Israelites. They kept the Sabbath day. We go in Acts chapter 13. We go in Acts all day. We're going to find Sabbath, Sabbath, Sabbath. Anytime they were referring to the Sabbath or the worship day, they called it Sabbath or the seventh day. They referred to Sunday as the first day. That's it. Go ahead.
In AD 325, Pope Sylvester officially named Sunday the Lord's Day.
Now, and Constantine called it the venerable day of the sun. But you're going to understand why. Go ahead.
And in AD 338, Eusebius, the court bishop of Constantine, wrote, all things whatsoever that it was the duty to do on the Sabbath, the seventh day of the week.
So that means they understood when the Sabbath was. Go ahead.
We, Constantine, Eusebius, and other bishops, have transferred to the Lord's Day, the first day of the week, as more appropriately belonging to it. It is very important to note that Constantine was an avid sun worshiper.
Right. So the sun worshiper changed the worship day to Sunday 300 plus years after the Messiah. You can find all of this in those encyclopedias that used to be at your grandmama's house. All that stuff is in there. This is not new evidence. It has always been among us. But emotional attachment causes you to throw away logic. Go ahead.
In America, the earliest Sunday closing laws, known as blue laws, dated back to 1610 in the colony of Virginia. They included not simply the mandatory closing of businesses on Sundays, but also mandatory church service participation.
Right. And to this day, if you walking out on Sunday and you pass somebody that went to church, you'll never see how they look down at you. When they got their suit on and you got your you know what I'm saying, your shirt and your little workout pants because you just got through doing something to the car, you know, and then they look at you. I know you didn't just look at me like I'm shocked. They just look at me like I'm shocked.
I see somebody didn't keep the Lord's Day today.
Right. Go ahead.
In the New Haven colony, the list of activities prohibited on Sundays was supposedly written on blue paper.
And that's why they call them blue laws. Go ahead.
Thus giving us the notorious phrase, blue laws. Blue laws, or Sabbath laws, are attempts by some Christians to enforce a traditional Christian Sabbath as a legally mandated day of rest for everyone.
Right. So now let's go to Daniel chapter 3. See, a whole lot of things people just felt like they really didn't have to, deal with. But they have such an idiot in the White House now that he will orchestrate anything. So all of those things that people felt like, well, we ain't never gonna have to worry about that. There's nobody idiotic enough to do that. Oh no, they got their Huckleberry now. They got their Huckleberry now. I mean, I'll tell you, he will do anything. It don't matter, I mean, even within the whole, discussion of Russian influence. I mean, the man is married to a Russian woman. Why is there a question? It's two Russians in the White House. Him and her.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel chapter 3, and let's read verses 1 through 7.
Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, whose height was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura, in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces, to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up.
Right. And the same thing they do today when they get ready to put in place a law. They have a big shindig and everybody come and they do all of these things so that this could be everybody's official warning that after this day, you're going to be held accountable. So it looked like a big shindig, but what it is a big warning. A big classy warning, you know what I'm saying? Let's have drinks, let's toast. But tomorrow, when the thing get ready to go down, you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're going to die. So party today, because tomorrow you die. Go ahead.
Then the princes, the governors, and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then an herald cried aloud, "To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages."
Right. Now let's announce and publish this law. So this is how you know that this place is even more wicked than the wicked places of old. You notice they at least told you that they had orchestrated a new law? You know when you find out they orchestrated a new law here? On your way to jail?
You had a right to remain silent and anything. I didn't even know it was a law, officer.
It's not our problem. It's not our problem. Who told us that it was you should have been watching the news? What news? Don't nobody tell you when they orchestrate a new law? Nobody tells you anything. Nothing comes in the mail. Nothing comes, on TV. They put certain laws on TV. That one law may have 12 other different areas to it. None of that makes it on the news. Just the blanket mentioning of the law. That means they want you to break laws here because they get paid when you do. You got to bond your way out of jail whether you are innocent or guilty. And they don't give you that money back. They don't say, you know what, you was found innocent. Your name has been cleared. You may go home. Okay, I had to pay $10,000 to get out. Hated it. What? What? But wait a minute. I'm innocent. Remember, you said, you put a stamp on this paper. You said I was innocent. You are. Now go home. Yeah, but I need my $10,000 back. No, you don't get that. So I'm innocent, but I'm broke. But you ain't in jail. Go ahead.
Verse 5. That at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up.
Right. You fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. You hear this music and go to worship. Go ahead.
And whoso falls not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Therefore, at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up.
Right. So then when we consider the past setup of the heathen, it is not out of the ordinary for the heathen to set up some things that are going to be completely unrighteous, but that they're going to do for a show unto all the nations. Because basically this is just for show. This has absolutely no real purpose. There is no real purpose in this law. This is to show their dominance and rulership over people. It's the only purpose of this law. There's nobody going to be saved by the law. There's nobody who's going to be helped by the law. The law has no purpose than for them to beat on their chest. That's it. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 13. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men.
Right. What you don't understand is you are the salt of the earth. Israel is the salt of the earth. But the nations don't want you to know that. Go ahead.
You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid.
Right, but because the Mashiach had to be sacrificed for Israel, then Israel had to be sacrificed for the rest of the world. We have forgotten who we are and what we mean unto the Creator of all things. That's why we're punished more than everybody else. In our eyes, it seems unfair. Other people do evil, nothing happens. We do evil, we get punished before the week out. And then we get punished more than they do. So we upset. But Yahweh have set you to be a holy and righteous people. So you do wrong, it's going to constantly happen to you. We look on the TV and our people go to jail every other day doing some mess. Understand something. This whole nation was built on mess. Everything that you see them people getting locked up for on TV, that's what they did to build this place. They came in here, rape, murder, and pillage. They killed everybody they saw, stole everything they can get their hands on, did everything evil under the sun, then set up laws so that it was illegal for anybody else to do it. And that's part of our thing. Well, other people did this evil and they got money. So then we tried. And we be in jail 20 days later. And we upset. Yahweh is forcing us to do righteousness. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but in a candlestick, and it gives light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Think not that I'm come to destroy the law or the prophets. I'm not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Right. And there is no way for him to fulfill the Sabbath. There's nothing within the Sabbath that can be fulfilled to take it away. But when you deal with animal sacrifice, he fulfilled that because he became a better sacrifice than what any animal could obviously be. Therefore, animal sacrifice has been set aside. That has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the things contained in this law. Think not that I am come to destroy the law. So he has already said that he didn't come to do away with the righteousness of this law. Go ahead.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments. So the same people that'll tell you commandment number 1 and 2, they'll slide right past the Sabbath. They'll tell you, no, don't kill. But the same one that said thou shalt not kill also said remember the Sabbath day to keep holy. Go ahead.
And shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
He's going to be called the least in the kingdom of heaven because he's not going to be there. Go ahead.
But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. You have heard that it was said by them of old time, You shall not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment, and whosoever shall say to his brother, Reka, shall be in danger of the council.
Right. So you're in danger of judgment for being angry with your brother for without a cause. And I gotta say sister, because you know people will be like,
Well, see, that only pertain to brothers. So I can hate that sister over there.
okay, so if you hate that sister or you hate that brother, what is your reason? And if your reason is not just, you're in danger of judgment. Then when judgment shows up, people surprised, like they don't understand where it come from. Because you hated your brother or your sister without a cause. If your cause is not just, you have no cause. And half the time if you ask somebody, well, you know, that's why, because. That's not an answer. Why do you have a problem with this individual? Because, you know, such and such. No. Specific. See, we come with them generalities. You know, I just don't like the way they move. I mean, what they slither? What you know, what the hell they do? Now let's get specific. Tell me the thing that was done that sinned against that individual. That individual sinned against you how? Sin is transgression of the law. How did they transgress the law concerning you? Or they didn't? Were you entertaining evil thoughts? And don't be surprised when judgment come knocking.
Who is it?
It's judgment. I ain't here. I'm coming in anyway. I was just knocking as a formality. I got the key. Yeah. Go ahead.
But whosoever shall say, You fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Verse 23.
And you know we say much worse than that. Fool, come on. Come on, we make up cuss words that don't even go together. Oh, we've said much worse than fool. And if that can get you judgment for saying something just that small about somebody we don't like, who really hasn't done anything to us. What do you think some of the words that we let fall out of our mouth about somebody who hasn't done anything to us, that we just don't like? What do you think that judgment is going to be? If you can get it for just saying, thou fool. Because, you know, we say some words they couldn't print in here. They can't print some of that stuff that we say in here. We got some choice words. This book would lose its family rating if we put some of the words that we say in here. But fool could get you judged. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 23. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, and there remember that your brother has aught against you.
So now, you have now blemished your offering. And this is something that people don't consider. Your offering is not carrying the weight that it should carry. Let's say you brought $1,000. Boom, put it in the offering. But because it's blemish, Yahweh saw 150. Wait a minute, no, I gave Yahweh, I gave 1,000. No, you gave 150. Well, no, I got the receipt. I put 1,000 in there. Yeah, but because of the hate that you had for the person who didn't into you, I knocked off 900 of that. Ah! Right. You blemished it. Go ahead.
Verse 24. Leave there your gift before the altar and go your way.
Right. Leave your gift. Don't offer your gift right now. Go and fix the mess. Then when you come back and bring your offering, you get full credit. Instead of that 85% knockoff you just about to do. So your offering about to go on sale. Check that out. Go ahead.
First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift.
Right. This is why you got to keep working. This is why you got to keep going. Because we don't know how many offerings we have blemished within our daily walk and the things that we let fly out of our mouth. Because we'll say something and won't even think about it. We'll do something, won't even consider it. I know I will never stop working. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. But if I knock off my work, I got some more work coming. Go ahead, bro. Did you finish that?
Yep.
All right, let's go to 1 Kings chapter 8. Yes, I don't want to have to talk to Yahweh about, you know what I'm saying, I did some good works in 1989. I did, no, I did something 15 minutes ago. Because I might have done some evil 14 minutes ago. Hey, we walk in the flesh. Whether we want to do these things in the spirit, and you want to be in the spirit, but we're still contained in the flesh. So that flesh is going to fight the spirit daily. You are in a daily fight, fighting this flesh. You don't just fight the flesh one time and it's a done deal. I have conquered. No, that ain't how that works. As long as you're in this earthly body, you're going to be fighting the flesh. And you got to understand that. It ain't just this thing that you fought last Tuesday and it's over. It's not how that works. And the ones who don't understand that are the ones that flesh is tearing them apart. Because they like to announce, I've done it. I'm finished. The fight with the flesh is over. Man, the fight with the flesh ain't even begun yet. And you think it's over. 1 Kings chapter 8. And let's start that at verse 1.
Then Shlomo assembled the elders of Israel, and all the heads of the tribes, the chief of the fathers of the children of Israel, unto King Shlomo in Jerusalem, that they might bring up the ark of the covenant of Yahweh out of the city of David, which is Zion. And all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto King Shlomo at the feast in the month Ethanim, which is the 7th month. And all the elders of Israel came, and the priests took up the ark. And they brought up the ark of Yahweh, and the tabernacle of the congregation, and all the holy vessels that were in the tabernacle, even those did the priests and the Levites bring up. And King Shlomo and all the congregation of Israel that were assembled unto him were with him before the ark, sacrificing sheep and oxen that could not be told nor numbered for multitude. And the priest brought in the ark of the covenant of Yahweh unto his place, into the oracle of the house, to the most holy place, even under the wings of the cherubims. For the cherubims spread forth their two wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubims covered the ark and the staves thereof above. And they drew out the staves, that the end of the staves were seen out in the holy place before the oracle, and they were not seen without. And there they are unto this day.
Right. So then when we consider what is in this ark, we understand that this is the seat of Elohim. This is where Yahweh comes and communes with the children of Israel. This is why it had to remain holy. This is why it could not be touched. When the brother accidentally touched it, he had to be sacrificed. Okay? This is his place. This is his seat. You cannot touch it. Go ahead.
There was nothing in the ark save the two tables of stone, which Moshe put there at Horeb, when Yahweh made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of the land of Egypt.
Right. So there's nothing in the ark save the two tables of stone. There should have been some other stuff in there. But because there was other stuff put in there. But when you deal with these tables of stone, we're talking about the signs of the covenant is under Yahweh's seat. You have to kind of consider all of those things and what that means. Okay? How important the covenant and all of those things are, that is placed in the ark, which is the seat of Yahweh that man can't touch. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when the priests were come out of the holy place, that the cloud filled the house of Yah, so that the priests could not stand to minister because of the cloud, for the glory of Yahweh had filled the house of Yahweh.
All right. So you finished that. Let's go to Revelation chapter 11, so that we can then deal with where this ark is. Because you have this thing where people want to believe that these things are no longer holy. They're not anything that we need to really deal with. We're going to go to Revelations 11 and start at verse 15. This is also why you find all of those movies like the old Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. That whole thing was about finding this. Because whoever has these things would have the power to rule the world. That's what the whole movie was about. Finding the ark. So people all over the earth talking about, well, the ark is here, the ark is there. And I mean, this movie was a blockbuster in its day. I mean, this is one of my favorite movies growing up. Raiders of the Lost Ark. I didn't know nothing about Yahweh or nothing like that. It just sounded interesting to me. Then you go back and find out, oh, it was interesting because they were talking about your story. They was talking about your heritage, Israel. Now, consider it's one thing that they talked about. Whoever would have these relics would be able to rule the world. The part that they didn't tell you, that they won't put in the movie, that whoever has those people end up ruling the world. That's the part. You ever wonder why they go all the way out, all the way across the world to come get you? I mean, they just need somebody to do some corn and some cotton. I mean, clearly you ain't got to go across the world to get corn and cotton. I mean, right now they can't keep the Mexicans out of here. Okay? Clearly they could have just went further down and got somebody to do corn and cotton. Why they go halfway across the earth to get somebody? No, they want us a specific somebody. People who were born to be servants. They were just born to be Yahweh servants. And because they didn't serve Yahweh, they were made to be servants of men. And at some point, we got to be tired of being servants of men. Men have no righteousness in them. We were always better off being servants of Yahweh. Revelation, where are we at? 11?
11, verse 15.
And verse 15.
And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven, saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Adonai and of his Mashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever.
So even when you deal with righteousness, when you deal with judgment, we're still dealing with the number of completion, which is 7. You look over here at these golden candlesticks, you see 7. When we look for our holy days, we got 7. So then when you look in dealing with judgment, you still find 7. Sunday is number 1. And it is not a coincidence that the people who believe in Sunday believe that they're going to automatically obtain eternal life without any judgment. There is no judgment on the first day. Judgment happens after completion. So the adversary teaches his twisted doctrine to his followers. That's why we believed we were going to heaven when we kept one of those marks of the beast. Go ahead.
And the 24 elders which sat before Elohim on their seats fell upon their faces and worshipped Elohim, saying, we give you thanks, O Adonai Elohim Almighty, which art and was and art to come, because you have taken to you your great power and has reigned. And the nations were angry, and your wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that you should be judged, and that you should give reward unto your servants the prophets.
Right. It is time for the dead to be judged. Folks will be at a funeral and tell you they're looking down at us right now. And no, he actually looking up. He in the box right there. He not looking down. No, he in heaven right now looking down on us. Imagine they surprised when they crawl out that casket and they start walking out the dirt. See, the automatic confusion going to be like, why I'm not coming down? No, you're getting up. Yeah, it's going to be a little confusing there. See, you didn't believe that lie that whole time. But it's time for the dead to be awakened. And they're going to come out of their graves. Automatic confusion. Because when they went to sleep, they was hoping they were going up. That means they believed in that lie their entire lives. But they're going to wake up coming out of those graves. Go ahead.
And to the saints and them that fear your name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth. And the temple of Elohim was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament.
So all the people, so we could have ended the Raiders of the Lost Ark movie immediately. They could have just showed the credits, look for the ark, I show you the ark is in heaven, move it over. It would have been the shortest movie ever. It wouldn't have been time to get popcorn. It would have been over. They have all these wonderful adventures looking for the ark. They all over the place. And Yahweh said right here in heaven. I got it. Fine movie though. Fine movie. Fine. Bunch of entertaining lies. But a fine movie though. Fine. Right. There you go right there. Go ahead, bro.
And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail.
All right, let's go to chapter 13 and read verses 11 through 18.
Revelations chapter 13 and verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he does great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceives them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live.
Now, when you talk about making an image to the beast, understand, we read where an image was made within the rulership of Babylon, and when you hear the music, everybody bow down to the image. They're doing the same thing. Because all you're having is different Euro-Gentiles fighting over the same rulership of Babylon. That's what all those beasts were. Same kingdom, just fighting over who was going to rule it. And just even looking at this picture here with the Pope on it, you have this thing where, it's talking about these 2 horns, but then you have to look at something else. This is also the little fish hat where the Pope ended up putting out something about that he believed in fish to man evolution, that all the earth was covered with water and that man used to be a fish and then they evolved into man. Now, that sounds like some really twisted stuff until you really figure out where he's coming from. That's Dagon, the fish god that they worship, and that's what that hat is. See, you don't understand that he's worshiping the fish god, so then when he gives you this other thing, you just think he's completely cuckoo. I mean, he is, but that's not the point. That's not the point. It's not the point I'm making. The point is he's worshiping a fish god, so then when he gives you his rundown of evolution, it matches the fish god. You just think he's saying some stuff. No, he's backtracking back to the fish god that he's worshiping. That's why he got on the fish god hat. Remember now, you'll see him have on head coverings just like us, because basically they killed off all of the real prophets, and took their place and set up everything. So after all of this killing, the only thing that was still standing was the Roman Catholic Church. So this is why, when you get right down to it, look at this at their clothing. Their clothing down to the foot. They're covered. They're dressed up like priests. They have their head covered just like I have mine covered. For this reason, this is where some of our people then go completely opposite, because we see somebody and if they doing something, it must be evil. So now we don't want to be covered or dressed in a certain way because we saw somebody evil do it. That's not what determines what's evil. Sin is the transgression of the law. So it doesn't become evil if somebody who is sinful does something nice. Now they can't make nice evil. Now I can't do nice no more because that evil man did it. God almighty, no. Now that ain't gonna work. That don't make any sense. We have to be careful how we process things. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
And my elder always taught that we would have to be out of here before those things take place. But it's interesting that they would have to have that before they could buy. And it's going down to some of the same ordinations of what was on the Sabbath, because you're not supposed to go and buy on the Sabbath. Now, even though now they say that they observe Sunday as their Sabbath, they're constantly buying and selling on that day. But the whole push for this so-called national Sunday law, they're going to go ahead and make the day of the worship of Lucifer a holy day. Go ahead.
Here's wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
All right, let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Second Thessalonians chapter 2, and we're going to start that at verse 1. We're going to read verses 1 through 12.
Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Adonai Yahshua the Mashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that you be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of the Mashiach is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
And he has already been revealed. You know, if you go and look at how many Christian organizations are speaking against the Pope, it is utterly amazing. They understand who this is. The problem is every other thing that was set up in Christianity was also set up by the Roman Catholic and the Pope. And the problem is they keep all of those things. They still keep Sunday worship, even understanding that this was an evil setup of them. They called them and recognized him for the deceiver that he is, but still keep all of the things that he set up. That's what all of the whole breaking away from the Catholic Church was about. We're going to pull away all of the Protestants, the protesters, how you have the Methodists, the Baptists, and all of these other denominations. They pulled away for one reason or another, but still kept the whole setup that was set up by the man that they know is evil. What does that do you? Go ahead.
Verse 4. Who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worship, so that he as Elohim sits in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim.
Right. He's already been pronouncing that he is, God's representative here on earth. But he has to go to the holy place and do that. He has to do that in Yahweh's land. See, if somebody, it's one thing for somebody to say all of these things, and they standing in their yard. But when they come in your yard and start saying, oh, no, you just got personal now. You about to get the personal prayer package. You going to come up in my yard and say that and let that run out of your mouth? Who said, I'm the ruler of this. This mine. No. You need to go back to your yard. Don't come in my yard saying that. Now, if you go in your yard, I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to let you talk. When you come in my yard and start saying it, we about to move around some bushes now. We about to have some real furniture moving. You in my land. You don't get to run off at the mouth in my land. So it's about to get extremely personal here very shortly. It ain't like Yahweh ain't heard him talking about he's God's representative. He is just like God. It ain't like Yahweh don't know. But no. He about to get real personal now. I'm finna go stand in your house. And then I'm gonna say it. And then it's going to get real interesting after that. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Remember you not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of the lawlessness does already work. Only he who now lets will let until he be taken out of the way.
Right. My elder used to say, when the spirit is taken out of the way, we're going to have the biggest problem that we ever even could think about. And we don't even understand that the spirit is keeping us from being totally destroyed. You don't understand that the adversary has never not known who you were. You just now finding out who you are. He has always known who you are. So it would have been easy for him to come up in your disobedience, being in places where you didn't have no business being, doing things you didn't have no business doing. Yahweh had an angel watching over you, even at that point, even before you knew who he was. And that's what throws people. I was protected even when I was doing wrong, right? What did the adversary say about Job? He don't fear you for nothing. I mean, look at all the stuff he got. I mean, Lucifer knew who he was. He had already made an accounting of his stuff. Look at all this stuff he got, man. Look at all these sheep and cattle, man. Yo, rich, man. But I tell you what, remove that hedge from him. And I'll make him curse you. The demons know who you were before you knew who you were. So it's amazing to me that we have all of these people that get so caught up in we Israel, and they're ready to have these Israelite pep rallies, and that's all they want to do is sing and dance all day. Congratulations, you just found out you Israel. But the devil been knew who you were. How about dance to that angel who been protecting you while you was stupid? When you were climbing out of that wonder. And the angel like, come on, fool. When you was over there on the block doing things you ain't had no business doing. And he just gave you that thought. You know what, you should go home now. No, man, I got some more stuff to sell. No, you should go home right now. And as soon as you turn the corner, everybody get busted. That was that angel that sent you home. But we want to dance that we Israel. Now dance that he had an angel protecting you in your stupidity. That's something to dance for. Go ahead.
And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Adonai shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause Elohim shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness.
Had pleasure in unrighteousness. And this is why it is very difficult for us to stop those things, because we have found the pleasure in them. And part of our pleasure is just continuing in the things that we are accustomed to doing. That's the easiest pleasure there is staying with the status quo, staying with the things that we have gotten accustomed to. It's easy just to keep doing what you're doing. It's more difficult to make a change. So don't take that pleasure in unrighteousness out of context. We have pleasure in unrighteousness just going with what we're accustomed to. It was easy to keep Sunday worship because it was what we were raised on. That was the easy part. We found pleasure in going along with what everybody else is doing. It's harder to do the thing that everybody is not doing. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24. And we're going to read verses 15 through 24.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 15. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso reads, let him understand.
Right. So then we understand that this thing has been prophesied. It has long been said what is going to happen, and they are in the process of bringing these things to pass. And they're going to use, the fake Jewish to help bring these things to pass. That's what they've been put in there for. Go ahead, brother.
No, just to add to that, they've been working for years now on the red heifer, and they recently say they actually made the red heifer, so they can offer this thing here for the world.
Brother, they are setting up, and it is amazing. While we partying and having a good time, these people are setting up to do their unrighteous works. And we're going on business as usual. But as it was written, during the times of Noah, when the flood came, people were partying, people were marrying, giving their sons and daughters in marriage, and here come destruction. But we were too busy enjoying ourselves to even notice. Go ahead.
Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray you that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day.
Now, he's talking about a future event. If he's talking about a future event, why are you talking about the Sabbath if the Sabbath hasn't been nailed to the cross? He ain't even talking about now. So he's already keeping the Sabbath, but then he's talking about future judgment. We're talking about he is giving the prophecy of the Pope going to call himself God in the house of Elohim. This is a future event. He's still talking about the Sabbath. Go ahead.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here's the Mashiach, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false messiahs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
If it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. But it is not possible for them to deceive the very elect. See, they're going to try very, very hard, but they're not going to be able to deceive the very elect. When you get down to these things, the simple are deceived by. They say, "Well, we can't tell when the Sabbath is. We can't tell. They've changed the calendar so many times. We can't tell." We get right in this book. They call it Good Friday. They say he had to come off the cross because as the sun was going down, it was going to be the Sabbath. How difficult is that? See, so if we're deceived by that, that ain't very elect. That's pretty simple. Friday, next day Saturday. There it is. Next. So if something that simple for you, you got a real problem when the adversary gives his operatives special powers. If that little bit has tricked you, you're gonna be in for some serious trickery when they're able to do miracles. We're talking about the miracles that they have faked all this time. Like they fake on Benny Hinn, where he go in there, he heal people, or whatever, he touch them and they pass out. But it only works in his congregation, though. You know what I'm saying? Between the hours of 11 and 1. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it only works there. You know, like he can't heal people like outside the congregation. Can't heal people on the way to church. You know what I'm saying? Only like in church. You know what I'm saying? When the camera's on. You know, can't really heal people at the hospital. You know what I'm saying? You know, so it's they've been faking at these miracles the whole time. What you gonna do when they actually able to do it? So if you thrown off now, you about to have yourself a hell of a time. Because the wicked is about to get some powers that we had never seen before. And if you ain't rooted and grounded in this word, you're going to be off worshiping the wrong thing. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.